If you think that by 2025, the US economy will soon stabilize, think again. Right now, the American retail industry is at risk of facing an unprecedented wave of purges. Names that seemed unshakable, from supermarkets and pharmacies to fashion, from office supply chains to home goods stores, are all simultaneously closing, downsizing, or worse, shutting down this year. And the most noteworthy thing is, this is not just a business matter. Every time a store closes, hundreds more people lose their jobs. It's a corner of the street that becomes silent. It was a daily habit, so familiar that we didn't even notice it, now suddenly turned into the past. So, which 15 brands are on the brink of collapse? Why are we gradually losing the stores that used to be a part of our memories? Let's take a look back together. And who knows, you might realize you've just lost something very familiar too. All the information in this video is compiled from public reports, market analyses, and news from early 2025. This is not financial advice. It is an honest look at the reality unfolding before our eyes. Are you ready? Let's start with the first name, a giant that is gradually faltering. I remember when I was little, going to Walmart with my parents every weekend afternoon felt like a short trip. Everything we needed, Walmart had it and sold it at a better price than any other retail chain in the US. But by 2025, that memory is being replaced by for lease signs and eerily empty parking lots. Walmart seems to be retreating. No fanfare, no sensational announcements, just one store at a time, quietly disappearing from the map of America. In the past year, Walmart has closed dozens of branches across states like Illinois, Oregon, Wisconsin, and New Mexico. The reason Walmart gave was not meeting profit expectations. Oh, a phrase that sounds reasonable from a business perspective, but behind it are the communities left behind, the elderly who no longer have a place to buy medicine nearby, and families who have to drive for hours just to buy essential groceries. A resident in Arkansas shared, "Walmart has closed down. I have to take 2 bus rides just to buy milk. I remember the time when I only needed to walk 5 minutes to get everything I needed. Now going to the market feels like participating in a survival show." The impact doesn't stop at the buyers. Thousands of employees lose their jobs, and entire towns lose their central access to essential food. For many families, Walmart was once the only place where they could buy affordable food and basic medications. Now gone, the gap between poverty and hunger has narrowed a bit more. Ask yourself, if an empire like Walmart struggles to survive in the heart of America, how long can smaller chains hold on? Or is this a sign that the very American consumer dream is gradually falling apart? Family Dollar used to be a paradise for those who needed to buy everything with almost nothing in their wallets. $1 could buy a roll of toilet paper, a pack of noodles, a few candy bars, even a sense of security in uncertain times. But in this year of 2025, that paradise is shattering. And unfortunately, the shards are falling into the poorest neighborhoods in America. It is estimated that in the years 2024 and 2025, Family Dollar has been and will be closing more than 600 branches nationwide. A concerning number, not only from a business perspective, but also in terms of social impact. The cause is as clear as day. A series of hygiene scandals, spoiled food, and a business strategy that even industry insiders shake their heads at. Some stores were found selling expired products, while others had mice running around like in cartoons, to the point where people started jokingly calling it family horror. But behind that reality are real size. Because for many communities, especially in communities of color and low-income areas, Family Dollar is not a choice, but the only choice. When the big supermarkets left, Family Dollar was the only place selling food, baby diapers, cough medicine, dish soap. Things too small for anyone to care about, but too important for a family to live without. A single father living in Detroit shared, "The nearest Family Dollar has closed. I have to walk 5 miles to buy milk, and sometimes I can't even get it because the shelves are empty. But by the time the goods arrive, my salary is no longer enough to buy them." There is something heartbreaking about a brand named Family being the first to not withstand the tough times. People easily talk about outdated business models, but few mention the millions of poor Americans who are losing the only places where they can shop without feeling ashamed. When even the cheapest stores can't hold on, we have to ask again, who is really being left behind? The question is, when places like Family Dollar disappear, does anyone in the government notice? Or is it only the poor who can see the holes in this safety net? There are names that are tied to an entire era, and Macy's, for decades, has not only been a chain of department stores, but also a symbol of prosperity, the holiday season, and the best shopping memories in America. But in 2025, instead of fireworks and marching bands, Macy's is witnessing a wave of closures quietly but steadily, like a Swiss clock. From downtowns to residential areas, the once brightly lit stores are now plastered with newspaper clippings, 80% off signs, and silence, like a stage after the final performance. In 2025, the chain continued its plan to close 150 stores, reduce staff, and shift towards Macy's Compact in high-income areas, where they believe there is still hope for profitability. Why is such a big brand struggling? American consumers are changing their shopping habits. No one takes the 3-story escalator just to buy a $65 shirt anymore, when shopping online can help them find a similar one for just $19.99 with free shipping. Moreover, the shopping mall, where Macy's used to be the ace up the sleeve, is gradually losing its original identity. An employee of Macy's in Ohio shared, "I have worked at Macy's for 17 years, and now it's just me and 2 employees dusting the empty shelves. No more laughter, no more Christmas music, only the sound of the wind blowing through the row of unsold shoes." But that's not all. When Macy's disappears, it could lead to significant social impact. For many older workers, Macy's is where they have built their careers, one of the few places still hiring staff instead of robots. For consumers, it was once an emotional moment, buying the first graduation dress, a wedding suit, or simply a gift for mom on a holiday. Now, if Macy's collapses, it won't just take jobs and memories with it, but it will also make us ask a bigger question. If even Macy's, the monument of American consumer culture, can no longer stand, then what traditional values can survive the whirlwind of buy fast, forget faster? If you've ever lived in the Midwest or South of the United States, the name Kroger is probably associated with everything from Sunday morning eggs to appetizers for the Super Bowl party. It's not just a supermarket, it's a part of the rhythm of life. But by 2025, the name Kroger is gradually becoming a costly memory. A series of stores are quietly closing or merging. Some places rebranded, while others disappeared from Google Maps as if they had never existed. And for millions of consumers, this creates a feeling of being lost. In 2024 and into 2025, Kroger began closing dozens of underperforming locations, particularly in low-income neighborhoods, where operating costs were rising, but purchasing power was rapidly declining. There are many reasons behind this disappearance, but honestly, none of them are convincing enough. The fierce competitive pressure from Walmart, Amazon Fresh, and Dollar General, rivals that are both cheap and fast. Adding to that are inflation, skyrocketing food prices, and the ever-increasing costs of operating physical stores. For workers, especially warehouse staff, cashiers, and delivery personnel, Kroger's decline is not just about job loss. It's losing a place that has supported entire families for many years. Not everyone can switch to working in technology or food delivery in the 4.0 era. For consumers, especially the elderly or those not tech-savvy, Kroger used to be a familiar place, knowing every corner of the aisles, remembering every cashier. Now they are forced to travel further, pay more, and lose the feeling of being served properly. So the question arises, if a system like Kroger, once likened to the backbone of food for dozens of states, is also starting to crumble, then is the foundation of food safety and traditional consumer habits in the US facing the risk of a complete collapse. The pharmacy is where you go when you have a cold, when you need to buy a Band-Aid, or simply when you want to find a bit of peace among the clean shelves and soft background music. For millions of Americans, Rite Aid used to be a familiar stop after work. Not too noisy, not as crowded as Walmart, but reliable enough. And then, 2025 arrived, bringing a wave of bad news. Rite Aid filed for bankruptcy. Hundreds of stores closed en masse, and in the eyes of the public, everything seemed to be falling apart. An elderly person living in Pennsylvania shared, "I had a headache, ran to the Rite Aid near my house as usual. But it was closed. Now I have to drive 25 minutes just to buy a box of Tylenol." The issue is not just the medicine, but the loss of a familiar anchor. For the elderly, those not familiar with technology, or families with small children, having to drive further, pay higher prices, or figure out how to buy medicine online is a nightmare. The reasons given for this collapse stem from a combo of mounting debt, fierce competition from giant chains like CVS and Walgreens, along with an outdated technology system, made it impossible for Rite Aid to adapt to modern retail trends. Thousands of employees lost their jobs. The pharmacists who had served the community for 10 years are now unemployed. Some have switched to delivery jobs. Others are languishing, trying to find their role in society again. And with each store that closes, it's not just a sign going dark. It's a small community losing its health support. What do you think? If a long-established brand like Rite Aid, which specializes in community health, cannot survive the market storm, then what is stable in the US retail landscape? Do you remember when Foot Locker was the place where even sneaker enthusiasts had to stand in long lines, hunting for their dream limited edition sneakers? But in 2025, those glorious days are becoming a distant memory. Stepping into 2025, Foot Locker has closed hundreds of stores, especially in shopping malls, once their territory. They announced they would restructure, focusing on flagship stores and online channels. But everyone understands. That's a euphemistic way of saying that they are gradually losing their position in the hearts of consumers. For Foot Locker employees, many are losing their jobs or having to work under worse conditions. Not only are they losing their income, but they are also losing a close-knit work environment where they used to be sources of inspiration for customers. For consumers, especially fashion-loving young people, Foot Locker's downsizing means losing a space for interaction and direct product experience, something that cannot be replaced by online shopping. Do you remember the first time your son picked out a pair of Jordans at Foot Locker? Or the time you saved for a whole month just to buy those high-end running shoes for your first competition? Maybe you still keep those shoes, not because they are still new, but because they are tied to an irreplaceable memory. Nowadays, when buying shoes is just a matter of clicking Add to Cart, checking out, and waiting for delivery, perhaps we have lost something deeper, a moment of connection, a small but genuine joy when trying on a pair of shoes and feeling, "This is me." If a major brand like Foot Locker is gradually collapsing, is the American retail industry truly changing, or just falling apart? What do you think about this volatility? Please leave a comment. Bed Bath & Beyond used to be an essential destination for anyone looking to decorate their home. From bedding to kitchen utensils, everything was available under one familiar roof. But in 2025, the story of Bed Bath & Beyond made many people sigh. In recent years, and especially by 2023 to 2024, Bed Bath & Beyond declared bankruptcy and closed stores en masse. Even efforts to revive it through an online sales model couldn't save a brand that was once the second home for millions of middle-class American families. A young mother in Texas shared, "I bought my first bedding set for my new apartment at Bed Bath & Beyond. Now the store near my house is closed. I have to go further to find what I need, and it doesn't feel as familiar as before." Why did a name once associated with elegance, thoughtfulness, and quality collapse? Prices are no longer competitive compared to Amazon, Target, Walmart. The store model is too large, the operating costs are too high, while customers are gradually moving away from shopping malls. The strategy is slow to innovate, overly reliant on discount cards and old beliefs. In an era where consumers have shifted to fast, cheap, and convenient shopping, and perhaps because life today is different, people no longer have the patience to choose each type of tablecloth and each flower vase. Young people rent temporary homes, live quickly, and move out easily. As for middle-aged people, who used to be loyal to Bed Bath & Beyond, they are now tightening their budgets and no longer indulging themselves like before. Bed Bath & Beyond didn't go away because no one needed household goods, but because in a world that is too fast, too exhausting, too expensive, people no longer buy the beyond things. They only buy things that are good enough. Have you ever had a special memory with Bed Bath & Beyond? Let's share. Big Lots, a familiar chain of stores for many American families, used to be a paradise for bargains, where you could find everything from household goods and food to toys at affordable prices. But in 2025, the retail crisis storm might not spare Big Lots either. As 2024 transitioned into 2025, their stock plummeted, revenue collapsed, and hundreds of stores began to downsize or close entirely. They were placed on the highest bankruptcy risk list by financial analysis organizations, a signal that no one wants to believe but also cannot ignore. Consumers are getting poorer, but demanding more. They want prices as low as Big Lots, but convenience like Amazon, and variety like Walmart. New low-cost brands like Temu, Shein, and even Dollar Tree have entered the game with stronger technology and supply chains. And it is Big Lots, with its traditional retail model and slow investment in technology, that cannot adapt quickly enough in a changed market. Maybe you once bought a simple table at Big Lots for your child to study on. Maybe you once picked up a few cheap pillows to arrange the living room for the holidays. Or maybe you just stopped by to buy toilet paper and unexpectedly found something that made you smile. Those little things, seemingly insignificant, contribute to the feeling of "I'm still managing" amidst rising prices. But now, if Big Lots disappears, it's not just a chain of stores closing down, but it is a part of America that knows how to manage, lives frugally but kindly, also gradually fading away, making way for a market that only knows faster, cheaper, but more alien. If Big Lots, the savings friend of many, is also faltering, are we witnessing a profound change in the landscape of American retail? Walgreens used to be a familiar companion in the daily lives of millions of Americans, from bottles of cold medicine and vitamins to personal care products. But in 2025, this pharmacy chain is facing a concerning challenge. A series of Walgreens stores are closing, many employees are losing their jobs or having to work in a high-pressure environment. The cause is not only due to the fierce competition from online retailers, but also the rising operational costs and changing healthcare policies that have led to a decline in revenue. The impact is not only an economic issue, but also profoundly affects public health, especially the elderly and those with limited mobility. When a Walgreens store closes, many people lose a convenient location for their daily healthcare needs. Now, as Walgreens stores gradually disappear from the map, people realize not everyone knows how to use an app. Not everyone can wait 2 days for their medication to be delivered to their home. And not everyone lives in a neighborhood rich enough to keep a discount pharmacy. If a large pharmacy chain like Walgreens is also struggling, the question arises: who will take care of community health when the closest places are gradually disappearing? There was a time when, if you needed an outfit for a special occasion, a first suit, a prom dress for your daughter, or just pajamas for Christmas, JCPenney was always the place to go. Not too expensive, not too cheap. Just right. Just right. A wise choice for families who know how to budget, but still want to be neat. But by 2025, this giant is facing extremely tough challenges. JCPenney seems to be caught between fast fashion brands like Shein and H&M and giant shopping platforms like Amazon and Walmart, gradually losing its position in the hearts of consumers. The fact is, They went bankrupt once in 2020 and were then rescued. But by 2024 to 2025, although it hasn't completely collapsed yet, the chain is quietly shrinking. A series of stores have closed, and the atmosphere in the remaining branches is also quiet, as if the brand itself no longer believes it can survive safely in the new era. Maybe you once bought a tie for your husband here, or warm pajamas for your mother one Christmas. JCPenney, with the smell of new fabric, soft music, and a family atmosphere, used to be a simple yet cherished part of life. And now, as each branch quietly turns off the lights, each sign comes down, we are not just losing a store, we are losing a way of life. A place where people choose items not to show off, but to keep warm, preserve value, and maintain kindness in every expenditure. For employees, many have lost their jobs or have to work in unstable environments, affecting their lives and future plans. For consumers, this loss forces them to seek new options, which are not always easy or familiar. If a long-established name like JCPenney is also facing the risk of collapse, does traditional retail still have a future? What do you think about this upheaval? Please leave your opinion. Rue 21 used to be a favorite destination for American youth with its on-trend outfits and affordable prices. But in 2025, this brand is struggling to survive in an increasingly fierce market. Many Rue 21 stores are closing, employees are losing their jobs, and shoppers are becoming increasingly scarce, partly due to the boom in online shopping and the rapid changes in teen fashion trends. The pressure from larger competitors like H&M or Forever 21 is also significant. Maybe you once took your daughter to Rue 21 when she was 13 and wanted her first crop top. Maybe you frowned when you saw ripped jeans on both sides priced at $29. But then you also smile, because that's a part of youth, of the freedom that everyone has to go through to grow up. And now, as the lights of Rue 21 fade away, no one glides their hands over the neon-colored shirt racks or asks, "Is this size still available?" We are not just witnessing the collapse of a brand, but rather, it is the moment a generation passes, noisy, bold, and glittering, making way for a different era, quieter, and faster. The social impact of Rue 21's decline is not only in terms of revenue, but also in the dreams and youthful experiences that are gradually being lost, forcing many young people to seek other places to express themselves. If Rue 21 also fails to maintain its position, who do you think will be the next to leave the youth fashion scene? Kohl's used to be a paradise for savvy shoppers. You don't come here to shop for fun, but to shop smart, hunting for discounts using Kohl's cash, accumulating points, and redeeming rewards. For many middle-class families, especially those living in the suburbs, Kohl's is the place you stop by after work. Not fancy, not cheap, just right for the needs. And that feeling, living just enough, choosing moderately, spending thoughtfully, was once the core of the American way of life. However, as we move into 2025, Kohl's is on the brink of the very edge they have been avoiding for the past decade. Stock prices are falling, the store is empty, revenue is plummeting. The efforts to collaborate with Sephora or open mini stores to refresh the image only bring temporary effects. And the rumors about being acquired or going bankrupt are no longer unfamiliar to the financial community. For families with middle and low incomes, Kohl's decline is a significant loss, forcing them to seek alternative options, which are not always easy to find. If Kohl's also cannot maintain its position, the question arises, how much longer can the family retail market hold up? What do you think about the future of Kohl's? Please leave your thoughts in the comments section. Party City used to be an essential destination whenever you wanted to throw a grand party, from balloons and decorations to cool costumes. But in 2025, this brand is struggling to maintain its appeal amid the era of online shopping and simpler events due to a tight economy. In 2023, Party City filed for bankruptcy. Stepping into 2024 to 2025, hundreds of stores were permanently closed, employees were laid off, and what remained were a few branches operating on life support with clearance sales year-round, as if they themselves no longer believed anyone would truly need a party. The reason is understandable, but it still makes people sad. Living costs are rising, and joy has become a luxury. Many families no longer have the budget for parties. Some people still hold parties, but in a simpler way. Make decorations yourself. Buy on Amazon. Less extravagant. Younger generations rarely organize parties in the traditional style. They celebrate with images on social media, without the need for balloons or wall banners. And the big chains, e-commerce sites, have replaced emotional preparation with fast and cheap delivery. Party City once made you excited because of the feeling of personally preparing something beautiful and joyful for your loved ones. But in today's world, that no longer seems essential. When the store closes, the empty shelves and the costumes hanging unsold for ages, it's not just the failure of a brand, but it is a sad message. Even the simplest joys, if no one prioritizes them anymore, can quietly disappear. You might not even remember the last time you shopped at Sears or stopped by Rue 21 on any occasion. But as these stores gradually disappear, they leave behind a quiet void, not just in shopping malls, but also in our everyday memories. Which store chain from today's list were you once attached to? Are there any memorable memories there? An item, a moment, a phase in life? Please share your story in the comments section, because when we recount what has been lost, sometimes we also find ourselves in it. If you find this video helpful and want to explore more engaging analysis and discovery content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the latest videos. Not to judge, but to understand. Not to complain, but to remember that simple things also deserve to be preserved. This video is built on publicly available information sources, including financial reports, market news, and consumer trends at the beginning of 2025. The purpose is to share social and cultural perspectives, not to provide investment or financial advice. Each number may change, but the emotions, memories, and experiences these brands bring always stay with us. Thank you for being with us. See you in the next video, where we continue to tell the story of an America you thought you understood. But it turns out, there are still many things you never thought of.